fact and opinion is that it goes in that category of one-liners. Do you remember what I'm talking about? You remember the other one-liners? Other one-liners would be relationships within. Relationships between is actually two lines, but the idea is, you're looking at a very, very small area of the passage. And I even consider vocabulary and context a one-liner because whatever word it is you're looking for the meaning is going to be in one sentence. And then you read a little above, a little below. So when you do your final exam, a lot of students like to kind of get all the one-liners out of the way first because you don't need any of the other information in the passage. And in fact, thinking of the main idea or the pattern or all these like whole passage skills can perhaps clutter your brain while you're trying to do one of the one-liners. People whose attention is a little bit more like challenging to focus, especially in a testing situation, usually benefit from getting the one-liners out of the way first. So fact and opinion goes in that category, and it really is one sentence that you're going to be looking at, and you're actually going to be making the decision between A or B. So it's a 50-50 chance. Now, I wouldn't take your chances. I would actually, be able to say, for sure A or B. But at least, like other skills, even if you don't know, you still got a better chance than the ones that have 4 options. So I like fact or opinion because I think it's the easiest of the skills. All right, so what do we do to figure out fact or opinion? I break it into, since you really are going to have to do this all or nothing, A or B, I break it into 2 territories. Obviously, the fact territory and the opinion territory, but what defines each territory is very different. Fact territory is a matter of accuracy. Okay? So when you say a matter of fact, if you really mean that you're going to be giving a fact, because a lot of people use that phrase, well, a matter of fact, and then they give their opinion. So to really, really be a matter of fact, it has to be a matter of accuracy or inaccuracy. So that means when you're doing fact, or what does that mean? Let's see. When you're like looking at something and you're wondering if it's a fact, you're looking to see whether or not it can be measured or tested or verified to see is it or is it not whatever that sentence says. Opinion is not a matter of accuracy or inaccuracy. Opinion is a matter of a different kind of matter of agreement, or its opposite, disagreement. So you will not be able to measure something that's an opinion. You will not be able to test or verify something that's an opinion. What you will be able to say is you see that particular point of view or not. You see that particular preference that someone has or not. Maybe you prefer the same thing, and just because you prefer the same thing doesn't make it a fact. It means you share the same opinion. That means you agree. Maybe it's a possibility. So it's not an actuality. It's a possibility, and maybe you can see that possibility or not. And if you see it, again, just because you see the same possibility doesn't mean you've made it a fact just because you have 2 people who see it the same way. It's the way you 2 see it, and it can be seen differently. Someone can disagree. So opinion is a matter of agreement or disagreement. And even if we have 100% consensus and everyone shares the same opinion, everyone agrees, it doesn't make it a fact. It's still what everyone's opinion is. Fact, on the other hand, like I use the word possibility for opinion, fact is going to be actuality. So it's not a maybe. It's not a could be. It's certainly not a should be. Should be is probably the most obvious opinion because that's one of the strongest persuasion words. All matters of persuasion are opinions. What should or should not be. Would be, will be, would have been. Anything that is not is or was. So actualities deal with what is or what was. All the other verb tenses are opinionated. So that's what will be, because will is the future. Anything in the future, guess what we cannot do? Can't verify it, it hasn't happened yet. Can't measure it, we don't have it available yet to measure. So anything that will be, anything that coulda, woulda, shoulda, and the part of the coulda, woulda, should, by the way, is a have, of course. Could have, would have, should have, because none of that is. None of that was. Any must, or might, or can, and of course all of the opposites of those as well. Could not have, would not have, should not have, will not, might not, cannot, must not. So all of these in the affirmative or the negative are in. So anything that is or is not, or was not, can be verified and measured. So what does that tell us? When we're doing fact or opinion, when we're looking at that one sentence where we have to pick A or B, we're going to look at the verbs. That's one of our huge clues for fact or opinion, is what tense, what verb tense is it in? The future and all of the conditionals and subjunctives and all those, opinion. The present or the past, possibly are fact. Because I could say, I was feeling something. Now, once I add the feeling into it, guess what? Even though I have the was, which is the past tense, I have a feeling. And guess where feelings go? They're on the opinion side. Yeah. So I have to add that to my list. Feelings. Anything that seems to be or appears to be. All of those kinds of things are someone's interpretation. So it's a little bit different than feelings, but it kind of goes along with the same idea that I could see something, interpretation, hold on, I spell that word. I can see something one way and you may see it a different way. What seems to be a way to me may seem some other way to you or somebody else. So we're in that agreement-disagreement territory as opposed to what's accurate or inaccurate. So this isn't a guarantee. The is or the was, the past or present, isn't a guarantee for facts. These, however, can be facts. Whereas over here, all of the verbs that are conditional or future or emotive, the feelings kinds of verbs, those are opinions. So a lot of times you can figure out what is a fact by seeing whether or not, it's an opinion. You kind of can work backwards from all the stuff that's an opinion. All right, do I have to say anything else about fact? It looks like we need some more stuff to balance that out there. Measured, tested, verified. Aha, there's another thing. There's one that comes up a lot. And that's something that was said or not said. This creates a lot of confusion sometimes because sometimes what someone says is their point of view. Something could be mentioned and quoted, that is an opinion. But as soon as we have, he said that it's cold outside. Well, guess what? Whether or not it's cold outside is an opinion, right? You can agree or disagree. Maybe to you it's warm. Maybe you grew up in Michigan, right? And this is like summer. So that part, yeah, that part's an opinion, but that's not the main part of the sentence. Guess what the main part of the sentence is? That's the main part of the sentence. He said. So guess what we're doing? We're verifying, we're testing, we're checking. Did he say that or not? Or did he say it's warm outside? Or did he say I don't care what it is outside? Or did he not say anything at all? So see, that's the main subject and verb of the sentence. And that's what we're testing to see if that's a fact or not. When it's written that way, when the sentence you're looking at has a he said, or they said, or it can be said, any kind of said is verifiable. We can find out if those are the words those people spoke. Whatever those words were don't matter. Now, if all that you had was this, you don't know who said it. That's an opinion. Because can we agree or disagree with it's cold outside? Yeah, we can all have our own point of view, our own preference, our own feeling, our own interpretation of the weather. And so if someone just simply makes a statement, and all we're looking at is that statement of my or your preference on the weather, that statement's an opinion. But once I turn around now and repeat that statement to somebody else and say what you said, and say that you said it, now we're fact-finding. We're figuring out who said that, or not. And that's fact-finding. All right. What are we going to use to find fact and opinion? Well, I've already kind of given you the clue for the verbs. So my next sheet will be now a few strategies and other things to look for.